Okay, so I've been looking at some of your drawings, not all of them, but a good number, and most of you are not getting how dimensioning works yet. So I had a brainwave earlier in the week, which I tried out on Vion last night, and in the meantime, I've been playing around with different dimensioning techniques just to show you how to shorten the way you do dimensions. So I might have forgotten exactly what it is that I was going to look at. But the basic idea that I thought you should understand is if you are having a problem in dimensioning your object, okay, I've just created an object here which has sort of some features that are similar to some of your features. Go and have a look at the features that you've created and understand that wherever you created a sketch, you created a sketch from a particular point of view, and that point of view is the crucial part of what you're looking at, okay? So if I go into this sketch, okay, and I've got dimensions 140 by 230, then those two dimensions have to appear in your drawing. But what's important to understand is that whatever you are dimensioning, you're always dimensioning with a view to the fact that you're looking at the edges of the object. In other words, right now we're all looking at my screen and we're perpendicular to the screen, and the lines that we see here represent planes that go away from us. So they go away. It's just exits. So that's a plane, that's a plane, that's a plane, and that's a plane that these two dimensions describe. Does that make sense to everyone? So everything you do, you have to try and figure out whether you're looking at the object in a kind of an end-on view to be able to dimension it. And if you can't see the end-on view, you have to create it. You also have to remember that every single feature that you've got, so let me just see if I can do this quickly. I'm going to split the screen here. Tile vertically. Just get rid of a few of these. Chart start. Okay, let's see if we can get these two to. Right, so if this is the drawing that I've created. Let's go. That's the drawing that I've created of this part. Okay, so the way to check yourself is have a look. If you've got a fillet here, that fillet there, it needs to be dimensioned. If you've got a boss extrude and it's that round piece, it needs to be dimensioned. A sweep, which is that one there, it needs to be dimensioned. So you can check yourself. You can go back to your drawing and say, well, that sweep there, which is this one here, have I got it in this dimension? So at the moment I haven't, because I haven't put it in, but I need a way to dimension. Did someone say hi? Hi, who's that? Wilson. Wilson, I still don't know, is your name spelled with one L or two L's? Huh? And Hamza, okay. So just going back to Wilson, is your name spelled with two L's or one L?
One L.
One L. Okay. Just change that. All right. Anyone else that's joined? John. John is here. John's always here. Hi, John. That's it, eh? Okay. So yeah, this is a way to check that you've got everything that you need. Now, obviously, some of these features, like some of these fillets, you can check them one by one. Someone else joined. Not sure why it's doing that. Yeah, obviously, you can check them one by one, but you don't need to obviously create a separate view for every single feature that you've got. You just have to create views which contain sufficient ways of getting to those particular features. Okay, so I'm going to just. All right, so I'm going to actually delete what I've done here. And I'm going to come back to this and show you what I was doing there. And I'm going to open up a file which I recreated of Vian's model. Vian, is it still okay if I use your model? It's not your model. It's based on your model. Hundreds. Doesn't bother you. Okay, cool. All right, so just see, do we have? Oh, I'm doing this. I'm being very slow. Sorry. Let's just do this quickly. Yeah, I think it's that one. All right, so I recreated what Vian had done, but left a few details out. And I think part of the problem that you guys might be having is that you're creating parts which are actually quite difficult to dimension if you don't know what you're doing. So I thought let's have a look at these kinds of features, especially in this project, and just see how I would go about dimensioning and what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go to File, make Drawing from Part. Just give it a new part. Let's get an A0 or an A1. Okay, so the first thing I want is I want a front view. I'm going to pull the front view in. You can see that's 1:1. That's pretty large. So I don't want to use the 1:1. I want to go to a scale which is large enough to be able to see what I'm doing, but not too large. So I'm going to go to 1:4. Go. Okay, and because I've got a front view and my symbol here says first angle, I should actually create straight away the three primary views. But if I pull this view out, that's exactly the same as the view I'm just looking at. So it's completely useless and it's a waste of space. Other than the fact that, now hold on, it's not exactly the same. This feature here and that feature are different. So it is actually useful. And then a top view. All right, so those are the three views I need. That's my front view, my right side view, and my top view. And in something like this, because there's so few features which are flat on to you, like the only features that we can see that are flat on are these circles, which represent those ones. In this case, no, those ones there represent these ones here, and these ones here represent those ones. So the circle and then these shapes here are flat on in a sense that I can dimension their width. But nothing else here is flat on to me. This is all curved. That little face is flat on. But there's nothing about this view that I can use to dimension. This here was derived. Let's just go back to this item. Let's just find that. Okay. I'm going to suppress it. So you see, the way it was created was there was a plane that I established at 45 degrees so that I knew to cut through in that direction, sort of 90 degrees to the beginning of this angle. So that angle is at 45 degrees. And then I used that sketch on that plane. And let's just go and have a look at that sketch. So it's really just two cutouts. It's that shape there, and it's unsuppress this, and it's just slicing right the way through. And the result of that is a shape which is an odd shape. So that's a derived shape. It's a shape that has no use as far as dimensioning goes. You need to dimension this shape here, or be dimensioning using that shape in some way or another. So let's just unsuppress that. And sorry, that shape becomes even less usable the moment you put a fillet on, because the fillet creates also these odd shapes. So that's a constant fillet of 10. I think it's 10, 60, sorry. Constant fillet of 60. When you intersect a cutout with this shape, it gives you this kind of fluctuating butterfly shape. So none of that's usable. So how would I go about doing this? Well, one of the things that I think I told you guys to all start with is with your datums, and I can't remember if that is what I asked or not. But a better way to do things is, in fact, to start with your center lines, because that'll tell you if you need datums. So I'm just going to take out these little center marks, because if you watched my last video, you'd have seen that those are not, they actually get in the way. I'm going to reintroduce the center line on this view, and I only need one because I can drag it across to that one. And I don't know if I can, yes, I should be able to get ones on, there's one there, and there's another one, right? So those are going to be useful. I'll show you why shortly. All right, so once you've got your center lines, you can see that that's going to be useful as a datum because everything is centered around this. It's also going to be useful as a place to dimension across. So not only a datum, but a center line. So let's just put those center lines in quickly. Just take that off. So here I just click and click. And by the way, center lines go from both ends of the line, so please do that. Can put one there. Okay, so I'm just going to stretch this a little bit. Right, so what I need here is I need a section view which goes through this section here and then through these parts, because if I can get a section that goes through that part, through this part, and through that part, I can dimension just about everything that I need on this item, other than the outside shape. And there's one other thing. So let's just see if I can get another center line, one which goes like this. Yep, there we go. Right. Okay. That's because this shape was created as a sweep using the large circle, which is that one there, and then going around that path. Okay. So all I need to do to dimension the shape is give that radius, that outer circle, and then the details that follow. Okay. So I'll do those in a moment, but so let's just establish first of all the most important maybe view to detail the smaller parts, not the larger parts. So that the section's going to have to come through here and through there. So you can go straight to section view, and you can try and use this shape here, this auxiliary one, and you can pick your line like this, right? And if it's not doing what you want, you can go to edit sketch. You can pull this across, but here we're facing a problem of now this line is not going to be perpendicular to those two lines, and I'm going to have to introduce a sort of an artificial way of doing that, either by creating a center line or putting a little square in here, and then from here I can do this sort of thing. So I can go out like that, and I can get that line and that line to be collinear, for instance. So I'm just going to complete this quickly to show you this is what you can do, and I'll show you a quicker way. So that's collinear, right? So the only problem I have here is that that is not perpendicular to those two. What I can do is I can put in a dimension between these two lines of 135 degrees, which is 45 degrees, which I know is going to be perpendicular to the line. So that's one way I can do it, and if I exit that, I'll get a section view, okay, which is exactly what I want. So the section view, yeah, I'm going to just delete it for now because I'm going to show you a quicker way. At least I think it's quicker. Draw the line you want first. So go from this line, hold the shift button down. In fact, I want this line to start a little bit outside of this edge radius, or this edge fillet, because I want to cut across that line. So I'm going to go from there to there, and then just outside this shape again, and then up, and then I'm going to manipulate this line. So same as I would have done in the other one, but it's easier to sort of control it from here. And so I'm kind of happy with that, because that line is going across these two tangent lines, and it's going across that piece. The only thing I don't have is whether that is now 90 degrees to these. So the two, another way of doing that is to go to this line and see if I can't put in a, where is it, annotation, center mark. I can do that, and then I can draw center line from there to there. Just make these two perpendicular. And then just make sure that this line is at 45 degrees. Okay, now I'm guaranteed that that line is perpendicular to these two. And if I don't want these lines, I can actually, and the dimension, I can hide them. So maybe not the line, but certainly the dimension. All right, so now with that in place, I'm going to drag this out a little bit more. Drag this one in a little bit more, so my center lines sit outside. I'm going to select the line and then go to section view, and it'll instantly choose that full line. Okay, so here's my section view. I can place it. I don't like this section view. I hate the section view. It's got tons of lines that I have no use for. All I want is this outside line. All this other stuff is rubbish. No use to me. So there's a little button here under section view. You go to slice view. Just cuts out everything inside. Okay. The other thing I don't like about this section view is it's not to the right scale. I want it to be bigger. It's got to be bigger. Section views in general should be at least twice the scale that you originated. So I'm going to see if I can get it to go 1:2 scale. Yes, and it'll do it. All right, and then the other thing about the section view is at the moment, so I'm kind of happy with that. At the moment, I want it to be where I want it to be, so I'm just going to break alignment there. So let's just pull some of these views over. Okay, so that CL belongs to this line here. Right, now the other thing I don't like about this is it's taking up an enormous amount of valuable space. And it was just a waste of space. I don't like that. I want it to be smaller. So once you've got this selected, you can go to this button at the top here called Break View. break view will allow you to break any view in two directions, so either vertical or horizontal. And then the gap size, that's the size between the two breaks. So I just want from here to here, but I've just remembered something, so I'm just going to backtrack. First of all, I want my center lines on this thing. Very important. So let's go to annotation, center line. I should be able to click between these two outer lines. That's one. Okay, and then I want center lines. Now I have to be careful. I don't want a center line between that line and that line, because you can see that that section there and that section there are not equal. But the rest I know for a fact are equal. So it's this little line here and that little line that give me a center line. Great. So I've got the two center lines. Means I can use them to dimension things around. Drag them out. Okay, so now let's go back to this view and say, let's see if we can make it, we can squash it a bit. We can get it to be a lot smaller. So I'm going to go from there. So you click once, you click twice, it squashes it. If I'm happy with that, which in this case I am, I'll leave it as it is. But if you want to squash it even further, I don't know if you can go straight to, yeah, you should be able to go straight to it. You can actually squash it in both directions at the same time. So let's leave it like that for now. It doesn't matter. Although I've lost my center lines. Just go back. I think here I can only do once. Okay, so I've definitely lost the main center line, but I'm going to leave it like this because I want this center line in place. Right, so from here, I can now dimension everything that's in any of these views. So I can dimension that bit. I can dimension everything that has to do with this bit here. Just about everything. There's very little in this thing that I cannot dimension here. And it's already at a nice big scale. So I can put all my dimensions in here. Everything's done. By the way, if I want to change this, if I don't like this scale, let's say I want this to be 1:1, just click inside the text box. You have to retype the whole lot, 1:1, and if you click outside, it'll actually scale the whole thing up for you. So that's a little bit too large. I'm going to Control Z just to go back to where I was, pull that back. So from here, you'll see that I can dimension this flat piece, 196. Technically, I should be dimensioning between the centers of this line and this line. But because this might not be 100% sort of dimensioned properly, I don't think I can put them in. So let's just see, center mark. Yeah, it will. Okay, it's actually given them to me. So that dimension there should be to these center marks. Okay, I can pull that in if I want. And now I can dimension this radius, 196. And I might not be able to dimension this because I'm not flat onto it. Okay, so that little edge radius edge fillet I can't dimension because the line, as you see, it would have to intersect that bit at a different angle, and it's impossible to determine here what that angle should be. So all I need to do is find out what that radius is. I think I should be able to. I see someone's, see, Kyra. Okay, no problem, Kyra. So I should be able to see at the bottom here. Let's just pull this annoying zoom window out the way. Okay, so it's not showing it to me, that one there. If I don't know what it is, I can go, I might be able to measure. No, not going to give it to me. Okay, well, then I have to go back to my actual model and see what that is. I know that it's a radius 10. So the way to do that is to go to the note, click on this, say radius 10, not. You don't need to put a long edge, because from here, from the second view, you can see that it's along the edge. You can see it flows around there. There's nothing hidden from what's going on. So it was a bit silly of me to say this is radius 10 when I'd just been to the model a little bit earlier and found out it was radius 60. So I thought of how could we confirm whether what a radius is. And there is a way. If you just click on a face where you know that radius is, and you go to the measure tool, it'll tell you over here radius 60. So that's the way you do it. Right, so from here I just need to dimension these bits. So the first thing I want is I want to know where this thing starts. Okay, so here's one of the things that I think is missing from a lot of what you guys are doing. Notice here that I gave a start and end dimension first, position dimension first, and then the size dimension. I think it's very tempting to see, aha, here's a shape, let me dimension it. What you should be thinking is, what's the position first, and then what's the size? It's like, I don't know if you guys ever had your mother saying to you, you can't have any pudding until you've eaten your vegetables. So you should be saying to yourself, you can't have any pudding, that's these nice, easy to identify dimensions, until we've eaten our vegetables. Those are the position dimensions, which are not obvious, which are harder to put in. First put in your, okay, we've got 10 minutes left. First put in your position dimensions and then put in your size dimensions. Okay, so I need a position dimension for this baby before I can put in its actual size. So I need a center line. I know that this is a circle centered on this line, so I'm just going to create a center line from there to there. I know that I can't put in a center line because I've tried it before, so I actually have to create an artificial one. It's good enough. I only need one here because that shape there is just going all the way around. I do need another one. No, I don't need one that size. So I know I'm going to use this line as my datum, and I've already figured that out because if I go here, the center of that circle are these two lines. So if I go from there, not quite. Okay, never mind, but that is going to be my datum. So that's going to be one datum. And that's going to be the other one. Just because these are the starting and the end points of the sweep, and then those two features they are added on afterwards. So it's primarily just this one big shape, and then these two extensions are added on afterwards. So I'm going to use that as my starting point to give position 1, which is 40. I don't need position 2 because here it is, it's that line there. So now I can actually do the nice bit, radius 8. And I don't like that pointing like it is. Seems we won't do it otherwise. All right, so now I've got 3 other radii here. I've got this one here, and this one here, and then that one there. But I know that these 3 are all the same. I like to shortcut things, so instead of dimensioning them one by one, I go to a note. I click on one of these, and I enter in my dimension. Now I can just make sure that that is correct. I can click on this thing here. It should give you at the bottom here, where my cursor is, what the details are of that item, if you're on a sort of a true view. So it says radius 5, so I've got radius 5, that's correct. Now I just want to add a multi-jog leader to this, so I'm going to go and select this one, wait for it to connect to this dimension, which is not doing. Okay, and this works only with notes, by the way, the multi-jog leader. So I can't use a dimension to do it. There we go. Right. The moment it lights up, so it's sort of somewhere, there we go. And then I can select this one, multi-jog leader, beg your pardon. So go to the end of the dimension. So now I've got all three in one. To pull that to a place where it's going to be easiest to read. All done. I can do the same the other side. Mind you, I don't need to. Yes, I do. These two are both the same. Oh, by the way, if you've thin-shelled something, especially in rotomolding, no one gives any credence or notice to what the inside dimension is. The inside dimension is an entirely imaginary dimension, because in rotomolding, this wall thickness is going to vary all over the place. It's rough as hell. It's a fictional inside dimension. But even if you are doing injection molding, the parts that you're going to dimension are the outside bits, not the inside bits. So that little bit and anything related to it on the inside, you're not going to dimension. It's a common wall thickness all the way through. So it's only the outside ones. Okay, so I could here, I could actually put a multi-jog leader. I don't think it's going to work. It will, yes, because that was a note. So I could do that. It might be neater just to do two separate ones. Well, I'm not unhappy with that. That's fine. So now it's just these two and these outside ones. So let's go to that one. It's radius 5. That one's radius 5. Okay, I can't actually join them. I won't do the note thing again. This is not doing what I like. So that's just because there's a setting here. It has to do with selecting inside. So I need to change that settings file for you just so that it does the right thing. Okay, and then these ones. And then all I need is the position, or the position and the size of these bits. Okay, so this might not. Right, so you notice at the moment this it is selecting it. So if it wasn't going to select, I was going to go and put in a point. That's 35. And this one here is 80. And that's pretty much done. That is the totality of the details that I need to pretty much to create this whole thing, other than that radius and this outside circle. So I'm going to have a problem here with the circle because it's not looking at it as a true thing. So I might have to just put a note in. So that's one way I can do it. Another way is I can actually go and draw from the center. Try that again. Are you all still here? Yeah. Zoom. Okay, Zoom's going to end soon, but I'll see you again after the break. There are a few other things. So I can select one of these. I should be able to select the center. Sure, it doesn't want. Ah, there you go. All right, and drag it out. Just to see what it is, it's 499. So instead of going to my model, it's for 500. Okay, so I don't really need that. So I can just put in a note here. Note. Okay, now this is a diameter. It is not a radius because it's a full circle. So please remember that. It's one of the things that you guys are not getting correct. So I have to go and select the diameter symbol, and that's 500. 100. Done. And that would be the totality. I can't see anything else that I would need to dimension here. That would be the totality of dimensioning this item as it is. Now, Rian's actual drawing has one or two other features. It's got one or two little circles here with bits. Those would need maybe smaller details. I sort of haven't had a chance to have a look at how to do those, but I'll explain some of that in our next video. So I'm just being fussy here. Let's just go back to, there we go. All right, let's see how much time we've got left.